Good afternoon, Scarlette. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm blessed always, can't complain. Glad to be speaking to you though.
It's nice
You,
speaking to you, Joel, but the top,
you gotta love the top, Scarlette. You gotta love the top.
no.
Come over to the wild side. You've been in the darkness for too long. Oh my God, here we go, Lord. Glad you know allegiances already. Well, listen, I knew that would happen. I worked specifically for you, darling,
Oh,
just for
thank
you.
you.
Um, we're here to talk about your new show. You're still very much a part of A Place in the Sun, the star of the show. I know there's a few of you guys on that production there, but you're still very much a star of that show. But you've got other things going on, a new feather to your bow, to your cap, as they say, a new string to your bow, feather to your cap. Talk about it. What are you doing? What are you up to?
Yes, so I am still a part of the Place in the Sun. It's actually going to be turning 21 in November, which is crazy. But it's a show that's great. It's feel good. It's in the sun, which obviously means I'm always away in the sun. But my new show is also away in the sun. It's called My Dream Derelict Home in the Sun. So it's the longest title ever. But it's basically couples that have bought properties, derelict properties abroad, either Spain or France, and they're renovating them to be something hopefully incredible and like their dream home abroad. So whereas A Place in the Sun is helping people find places that are already ready to go pretty much, maybe just needs like a lick of paint or whatever, compared to my new show now where, I've started filming it and there are rubbles. There are stones and maybe a few bricks and that's it. Some of the places have no running water, no electricity, no roofs, no ceiling, like nothing. But seeing the plans and seeing some of the drawings that they've got from architects, you can just tell they're going to be incredible.
Are you given that you've been exposed to some of what people are invested in? Are you surprised what people part? How easily they part with their money for stuff that you're like, wow, this it's got to be a strong vision in your head for you to have bought this.
Do you know what? I think it's more when you speak to them and they have a rough idea of how long they think it will take and then their budget, and you think, you do know that there is nothing here and you think you're going to have this built in a year and your budget is XYZ. Like, let's be realistic here. You need to have a contingency plan, not just for how long it's going to take, but how much it's going to cost. A lot of people are doing most of the work themselves, even though they don't have any skills, tradesman skills. So I just think those are the things that kind of scare me and worry me. But I just love the fact that people have a vision and people just think, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get out. I want a better life for myself. I want to be in the sunshine. I'm going to buy something that's not going to cost me that much at all. Do it up. It's not going to cost me that much. And I've just got an incredible property that I've pretty much built from the ground up. And now this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. So that part of it, I think, is really inspiring.
Are you also like surprised that, during a pandemic that A, this show's running, and B, people are, still making plans as if the world was what it was? I mean, obviously, you can't ever stop. You don't know what's going to happen. We should all just keep moving forward. That's all that's all we can do at the end of the day. But this kind of commitment, given the circumstances of the world, are you surprised that it's happening or not?
Yeah, I really am actually. We shut down production of A Place in the Sun for about 6 months. We got back on the road kind of late July, August, September time. But actually, loads of people have applied to be on the show because this has happened. No one ever knew that 2020 was going to be the way it was, and how it still is. So I think a lot of people think life is too short. So if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I have no idea what's around the corner. I don't know what tomorrow brings. So you know what? I'm going to get up, I'm going to get out, and I'm going to do something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm not going to be afraid of it because what's the worst that can happen? So as much as we had to stop filming for a bit, we've got loads of people that have applied for the show that think now's the time. And obviously we've got Brexit happening, so people want to get in before Brexit as well. So yeah, to me, it's surprising, but I think it's great. And I think it's such a good outlook on life itself. Why not do it now? This is the best time to do it.
Talking about the pandemic, it's not just your professional life that was put on hold. You almost had your birthday scuppered earlier this year when it was like literally in that week when no one knew what was going on, right?
Literally.
I remember talking to you at the time and you just seemed so nervous as to whether it was going to happen or not, whether you should do it or not. What are the rules? I mean, we're still none the wiser 7-8 months on, but you've been impacted by this pandemic at various different stages. How have you coped and how have you found it, and how's Scarlette doing?
You know what? So my birthday, I had my party on the Saturday and we were in lockdown on the Tuesday. So I just managed to get the party out and it was great. And I'm so glad I did it. I was thinking about cancelling, but it just meant I got to see loads of my friends before not being able to see them for months. So that kind of put me in a good stead to go into lockdown. At the time, I was still living at home with my mum and dad. So, you know, they crack me up anyway. They need their own TV show. They're brilliant. My mum was working from home. My dad couldn't work because he's a taxi driver and all that work, you know, just shut down. So he had bought a Stag. He loves old vintage cars and he was doing it up. So I was kind of helping my dad do up the car. I started a little IGTV series called In Quarantine with ... and I was interviewing lots of friends, lots of people in different professions and kind of how to get into whether it's voiceovers, comedy, presenting. You know, I just thought I need to keep myself busy, so I was doing that and putting out an episode 3 times a week. That kind of kept me going. And just before lockdown I met my now partner, so that was quite nice because it meant
who we're going to speak to in a second, right after this.
You'll be speaking to Lyndrik a bit later, yes. And we've known each other for just over 11 years. We did a show together way back. And timing's just never worked out with us. Like I liked him, he liked me, but I had a partner, then he had a partner, and it just didn't work. And we met up just before lockdown. At an event. He was doing a gig. He's a singer, obviously. Saw him at a gig. We started talking, and then now we're living together in my flat in Enfield. So it's kind of worked out well through lockdown. I really took time to stop, to reflect, and be grateful. I think that's one thing I know for a fact, that I'm always grateful, but I never look back at my journey to where I've got to. I'm always thinking about what's next. I need to do this, I need to do that, instead of seeing how far I've come. So it was a great time for me just to pause, reflect on how far I've come, and also plan where I want to go to, but without putting pressure on myself that I have to be there at a certain point. I think that's the thing as well, especially social media. You know, everyone was mainly online during lockdown, and you see what everyone else is doing. You think, oh, why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that? And you think, no, you have your path in life. You have your route that you need to take. Stay on that. And what is meant for you won't pass you by. And what's meant for someone else is meant for them. So it was great. It was a great time to reflect for me and just to be grateful, be humble, and spend time with my mum and dad.
I can't wait for the book, A Lockdown Love Story with Lyndrik. That's going to be a...
Lots of L.
Yeah, it's lots of love. You staying on the theme of the whole pandemic and how it's disrupted what you're doing. I know shooting for the last couple of month or so, just before you got back to the UK, you've had to quarantine, you've had to work abroad and kind of adhere to all of the differences in lockdown rules that are being applied across Europe. I know you went to a few different destinations. To talk about, that. Has that kind of been particularly disruptive, or you just got on with it? Is what it is.
You know what? You kind of just have to get on with it. It was weird. So I've been to Italy, Spain, mainland Spain, Mallorca, and France as well. So I've been around a few places in the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks. Before that, I had to come back to quarantine for 2 weeks. Before I was back quarantining, that's where I was. And it's more kind of, I just hate these face masks. I hate them. Obviously, we have to have them, and I get it. But there are some things for me that just don't sit right. So I'm kind of looking around, and there are certain rules here and certain rules there. And when you come into the UK, for example, if you have an e-passport and it works through the e-gate, you actually don't need to fill in the form to say where you've been and where you'll be quarantining. But if your passport doesn't work, which mine doesn't, so I can never go through the e-gate, I have to go to the desk, and then they need to see the form that I filled out online to say where I'm going to be and where I've been. So things like that, and that just doesn't make any sense. If you're supposed to be keeping an eye on everyone, let's keep an eye on everyone. So it's more those sort of things. But everything's been fantastic in terms of cleanliness and efficiency and making sure that people are getting off the plane row by row rather than everyone just getting up and trying to rush out. So airports have done great. Airlines are really doing well with what they need to be doing right now. And it was just so nice to get back out traveling. And I forgot how much I miss it. I had 2 of the biggest suitcases in the world, Joel, right? It was so heavy and they were the bane of my life. I thought, you know what? I don't even care. I don't care that I've dropped it on my toe about 6 times. I don't care that it's broken and I'm going to have to get a new one. I'm just out traveling, and I'm so lucky to be able to do that, especially in the current climate.
No, I know how much you love property as well. I guess it's going to be a pretty turbulent time where property is concerned all over the world. Where can people watch this show if they've got ambitions of, just saying, listen, they're throwing caution to the wind. Let's go and see if we could do something similar and plot our bit of land, our space, our utopia, and create our destiny.
So depending on what you want, you could come on A Place in the Sun. You can watch Place in the Sun, which is on Channel 4. That is pretty much helping couples buy holiday homes abroad that are that they're turnkey properties. You can just move in more or less and you're done. If you want to watch developments from scratch all the way up, then
that's what I'm talking about. That show, yeah.
That one. Whoo, I'll tell you what. You're in for a treat if you watch that one. So that's on HGTV UK, which is the UK version of the American channel, which is huge, Homes and Gardens Television, which it started here in January. So my show will be on HGTV UK, but that's not until, I don't think the first episode airs until 2022, which is ages away. But it's because obviously we have to go through the development. So we start from, as I said, rubble, and then we work around, and then I'll probably go back in 6 months, see what it looks like there, and then I'll go back at the end and see the end product. So yeah, so keep an eye out on my Instagram for when the episodes will air. But that series is going to be fantastic. It's going to be so good. If you do want to come on the show, you can email renovations@truenorth.tv, or just drop me a message and I can put you in touch with the team, because yeah, it's great. I'm telling you, it's going to be fantastic.
All right, cool. Looking forward to that. The beautiful thing about those shows, which, just during this lockdown period, I've kind of really come to appreciate, they run forever. I was watching a similar type show, and it was from about 15 years ago, but I'm watching it same way because I'm still fascinated by the journey of the couple that went and bought this place and thought they could, like you said, do it up in 6 months. Took them 3 years, and some of them still ain't finished. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, these shows just run and run and run and run and run. So they're gonna contribute to people knowing who you are for a long time. Scarlette, you prepared for that? Yeah, you're all right with that? Yeah?
I am. Do you know what? I think because I don't have a very distinctive look, I change my hair all the time. I always dress differently. I can kind of get away with people not really knowing who I am. So I think I'm all right with that. I can go incognito, just put a cap on or something. It's normally the dimples. People say the dimples give it away.
That's probably what it is. Yeah. Well, congrats on landing that show and continued success on A Place in the Sun. Your ongoing staple. Wishing you more success in all types of shows, whatever comes your way next. Is there anything else you want to share with us before you go, before I kind of turn over to your partner?
Thank you, first of all, for having me talking about what I'm up to. What else? I think I'm just doing my thing. I'm starting to learn about radio. So hopefully at some point, I'll have my little radio show. That was a goal of mine that I said at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of in motion now. So we'll see what happens with that. And otherwise, I do have a nugget, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it yet, but I might just say it anyway. So there's a brand new computer game coming out called Watch Dogs Legions, and I am one of the characters in the game. So listen out for a Jamaican London girl.
Okay.
Don't judge me on my accent. But yeah, so that comes out. I think that comes out in a couple of months. So
okay, cool. Yeah, well, maybe we'll have another chat about that when that comes out, because it's a whole new realm for you, right? So
yeah, whole new realm. Yeah. So
good luck.
You're right. That's a whole other interview, because that's a lot.
Where can people follow you, Scarlette?
You can follow me on Instagram at Miss Scar Doug, so Scarlette Douglas shortened. Twitter, Scar Doug. Those are the two that I use mainly. So yeah, check me out on all the socials and stay in touch. Get in touch. Whatever. If you want to go, let me know.